Well, guys, it's been a while since we've actually been doing live video. We thought we'd jump in tonight because there was a really good excuse. Hi, it's Andrew Pitchford here. One of the things that has really inspired my day today is actually meeting a guy who's retired in his 70s, and he is looking at how to use his creative energy. And man, what a bunch of things he's made over the course of his life. I'm going to tell you about that shortly, but also explore what it is to use your creative juices, to actually get them out there and make them of value to other people. And so I just thought I'd jump in very quickly and have a bit of a chat about what is it to actually share your creative energy. Well, this guy that I met today, he rang up and was interested in getting a website built. And so we said, right, let's get together and have a talk. And we sat down this afternoon over afternoon tea around the table and talked about where the inspiration had come from. This gentleman has been in business. He's led international companies. He's been involved in things in Australia and New Zealand, now retired. But when I look at what he's done over the course of his life, it is absolutely stunning. In the course of the afternoon, we found out about the 5 books that he's written, 3 of them in the creative space, and 1 novel and his own biography. And he's been talking to people about how to get these books out there so that people can actually, I guess, learn and at the same time experience what he's found in life. At the same time, not only has he been writing, but for years he's been doing illustrations. Now, if you met this guy, if you read his social or LinkedIn profile, you would see a very accomplished businessman. And you wouldn't have known that behind the scenes was all of this creative energy that was interested in things to do with more creative writing styles, to do with very funny cartoons and illustrations, some great creative juices that have been put to the use of his own sketch pads, and there are framed pieces all over the walls. The grandkids have absolutely loved it. But why hasn't it gone any further than that? And as we talked today, he actually took me into his closet and pulled back the closet and pulled out pads and flipped through pads of work that he'd done. And it was amazing. To be quite honest, it was an inspiring afternoon just seeing all this. But at the same time, he talked about the desire to get all of the stuff out of the closet. So out of his own energy, he's been taking it off the shelf and putting it on the walls. But he wants it to go further. Now, why do creatives create in the first place? Now, some of you will say, yeah, we made an album to make money, or we did that piece of art so we could sell it. But the recompense, when you dig really, really deep, is often the background thing. It's the secondary thing. It's not the most important thing. And so when you talk to creatives, you often find it's about sharing, and not necessarily even sharing the art or the creation as much as what comes with it. We're going to talk about that in a moment. I've got a friend who's a musician, and I would have thought that's amazing because I couldn't play a guitar to save myself. But this guy goes around singing, playing his guitar. But then on top of that, he actually decided to make one. Why? You can buy one from the shop and they're really good. But no, put the creative energy and juices into making his own Fender Stratocaster. I think I've got that right. I couldn't even think about the playing, but he goes from the playing to the making. I've got a friend who's an artist who creates with words and calligraphy. And some of those pieces are actually on my wall to inspire me. And now this lady is taking her art, would you believe, to spaces like school toilet doors. Now that is amazing. Where else in the world do you want to be inspired? But when you go to the toilet, don't talk about it. It's real. And so her inspiration for words, her inspiration for art is now in front of all of these kids and different teenagers going through life and getting inspired by the words. And think of my own daughter, Abby. Abby's a creative. If you see her drawing or painting, amazing art comes out of it. Not only that, but she can also create stories for the people in her workspace, but also she creates stories for enjoying Dungeons and Dragons games with her friends. But then I see what she could do with an art medium that you don't see too often, the medium of cake. And I remember once when she was asked to be able to create the car's red racing car, Lightning McQueen. And so the medium of cake became a racing car and the inspiration for some kid's birthday. So what do the creatives want? Somewhere there is about feeling like I'm getting something back. But often it's not the monetary back, it's the feedback. They're sharing joy, they're sharing optimism, they're sharing inspiration. And I think even more than that, they're sharing a different view of the world. You know, when I go to a movie and I have this conversation with many people, it's not just about going to the movies to have the popcorn or to see the latest superhero movie. It's a sense of wanting to see something bigger than where we're at. And art can do that. If you get the chance, even if you're not a Doctor Who fan, can I recommend that whatever streaming service that you're on, you try to get hold of Doctor Who Season 5, Episode 10. You'll find out about Doctor Who, played by Matt Smith, who grabs Van Gogh, so ears not included, and takes him on a travel time trip into the future. And can you imagine Vincent van Gogh going into a art gallery today and seeing his works all around? This is a guy who really was a poor man for all of his life and continued to work through his own anxiety and torment to be able to create the art that many of us enjoy today. But the very powerful position that this Doctor Who episode had is that Van Gogh got to walk around the art, and then Doctor Who, played by Matt Smith, goes up to this famous doctor who's an academic on painting and says, "Can you just tell us what Van Gogh means to the art world?" And the doctor, played by the ever humorous Bill Nye, does a great job of talking about the impact that Van Gogh's art has had on art through generations and what it means to people who look upon his art. And in that moment, Van Gogh, played by Tony Curran, brilliant actor, shows the emotion of an artist who finally receives back, realizes that everything that he's been able to give is going to have a reward that not necessarily was something that he was able to see for himself. Listen, I've been inspired today because I saw somebody who had so much pent-up energy, and their biggest desire was to share their creative energy. So if you've got some creative energy out there, whatever avenue it is, I know that I sit on the couch sometimes with somebody that can take wool and knit it into something. There's this thing called crochet. I think it's kind of like karate, but different. And I know that Cheryl is able to make amazing things out of something and not even realize she's doing it. Like, she's talking away and twisting all of this wool around these little hooks and things, and out of it comes something beautiful. Go and make something beautiful today. I hope that's been a bit of inspiration on this very first episode of Rattling Inside My Head.